The mention was quite as usual. It always was ever since you met. Jungkook's silence had become the constant soundtrack of your life. It was not the peaceful kind of silence stuff. It was sharp, heavy, suffocating, the kind that pressed down on your chest until you forget what it felt like to laugh freely. You sat at the edge of the king-sized bed in your shared bedroom staring at the ornate clock on the wall. It ticked loudly, reminding you that another evening would pass without a word from your husband. Jungkook had just returned from work. You heard the faint sound of his footsteps in the hallway. The door clinking open, and then the rustle of his coat being shrugged off. But as always, nothing, no greeting, no eye contact, no warmth. Dinner is ready, you said softly, trying to break the ice. Not hungry, he muttered, loosening his tie, not sparing you a glance. Your fingers tightened around the hem of your dress. You were used to this. Jungkook had always been distant, cold, sharp, but lately his indifference had started to feel like knives against your skin. Still, you died. You should eat something. You have been working all day. He finally turned his dark eyes meeting yours, but not with affection, with irritation. I said I'm not hungry, stop nagging. Your lips parted, but you swallowed back your words. You wanted to scream that you were not nagging, that you were his wife, that you had every right to care. Jungkook's phone buzzed. His expression instantly shifted. He picked it up, a rare smile flickering across his lips as he read the message. Your heart clenched. He never smiled like that at you. Get ready, he said suddenly. You blinked. Forward, there is a party tonight my friends are hosting. We are going. You hesitated. Parties were not your things, not anymore, not with how your marriage had become. But his tone was not asking, it was commanding. So you nodded quietly and went to change. The party was lavish, music, laughter, expensive wine flowing like water. Dangu blended in effortlessly with his circle of friends, his charismatic aura drawing people in like moths to a flame. You, however, felt like an outsider standing beside him. You smiled politely, holding your glass of champagne, pretending you were not suffocating under the weight of whispers and judgmental glances. She's too quiet. Jungkook could do so much better. She doesn't really fit in, does she? You heard it all, every word. Jungkook laughed at his friend's joke, his arm occasionally brushing yours, but never wrapping around you, never claiming you. You were there. You were there, but you were not with him. Come on, Vine, say something. One of his friends teased, clearly drunk. You had been standing there like a doll all night. He'd crawled up your neck. You opened your mouth to respond, but before you could, don't bother, Jungkook said coldly, his voice cutting through the air. She is not exactly entertaining. The group chuckled. Your chest tightened, humiliation burned in your veins. You looked at him, disbelief flashing in your eyes, but he didn't look back. Something inside you snapped. Maybe I'm not entertaining because I'm too busy pretending I belong in a place where I'm clearly unwanted. You said, your voice trembling but firm. The laughter died. Everyone stirred. Jungkook shot tightened, his hand wrapped around your wrist. He screamed, hush. When don't start. Why? Because it will ruin your perfect image, you hissed under your breath. His friend exchanged glances, whispering. The tension was thick and unbearable. And then it happened. Smack. The sound echoed louder than the music, louder than the chatter. Your head jerked to the side, your cheeks stinging as the room fell into stunned silence. Jungkook had slapped you. In front of everyone, your champagne glass slipped from your fingers, shattering against the floor. Gas filled the air. His friend froze, some looking away, others watching in shock. You stood there, trembling, your eyes wide with disbelief. Tears blurred your vision, but you refused to let them fall, not here, not in front of them. Slowly, you turned your head back to face him. His chest was having anger flashing in his eyes, but underneath there was something else, regret, fear, realization, but it was too late. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, Jungkook. You whispered, your voice breaking, and with that, you walked out of the party, leaving him frozen, surrounded by the silence of his own actions. The night air was freezing, but it was not colder than the silence. Your heels click against a marble driveway, echoing in the distance. Your cheeks still burn from the slap, the sting, a cruel reminder of what had just happened. The humiliation, the whispers, the way his friend had stared at you like you were nothing more than a scene in a bad drama. It all replayed in your head on an endless loop, but what had most was not the slappy side, was the fact that Jungkook had not hesitated. You sat in the back of the car as the chauffeur drove you home. You didn't cry, you wouldn't give him or anyone that satisfaction. But your hands shook in your lap, fist clenched so tightly your nails dug into your palms. Enough, by the time you reached the mansion, your decision was made. Jungkook came home much later. You heard the sound of his car pulling in, the heavy footsteps, the creak of the front door. He moved slower than usual, his confident satire replaced by hesitation. You were waiting for him in the living room, sitting upright on the couch, still in your evening dress. When he walked in and saw you, he froze, his eyes darted to your cheek, still red, still marked by his hand, and his face instantly paled. When his voice was low, Horace, you didn't flinch. Do you even realize what you did tonight, He ran a hand to his hair, clearly frustrated with himself. I lost control. I didn't mean. You didn't mean. You snapped, your voice sharper than you would ever hear it. You humiliated me in front of everyone. You put your hands on me, Jungkook, in front of strangers, your fans, people who will never let me live it down. His thought bobbed as he swallowed, guilt flickering in his dark eyes. I'm sorry, I was not thinking. They were mocking me, mocking us and you. Don't you dare blame me. Your voice broke, tears welling despite your resolve. I have stood by your side silently, tough. Through your coldness, through your indifference, through your endless ignorance of me. But tonight, you laughed bitterly. Tonight, you disturbed whatever little was left between us. Why? And he took a step closer, his hand reaching out. Please, I regret it. I swear, I will. You pulled back, glaring at him with everything you had left inside you. Regret doesn't erase humiliation. Regret doesn't erase pain, and regret sure as hell won't erase the fact that my husband thinks it's okay to slap me just because he's angry. He flings the word husband rolled off your tongue like venom. Don't say that, he murmured. Don't act like this is over. But you would already made up your mind. It's over, Jungkook. You whisper, your voice trembling with finality. I want a divorce. The room went silent. Jungkook stared at you as if the ground had been ripped from beneath his feet. His lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time in a long time, you saw something raw in his eyes. Fear. Divorce, he repeated, as if the word itself was foreign. You're not serious? I have never been more serious in my life. He shook his head violently, his chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. No, you can't just decide that because of one mistake. One mistake? You laugh bitterly, tears finally spilling down your cheeks. Jungkook, our entire marriage has been a mistake. I was foolish enough to think you would eventually change, and maybe one day you will see me. Really see me, but tonight you proved me wrong. His hand clenched into fist at his side. His voice was low, desperate. You can't do this one. You can't walk away. Was me, and with that, you stood and walked past him, your footsteps echoing into the emptiness of the mansion. That night, Jungkook couldn't sleep. He sat in the dark, replaying the scene over and over in his head. The shock in your eyes when his hand connected with your cheek. The way you looked at him, not with anger, but with devastation. The way you said the word divorce like it was freedom. He pressed his palm against his face, groaning. What the hell did I do? For years he had built walls around himself. Coldness had been his armor. He told himself he didn't need affection, didn't need warmth. Marriage had been a responsibility, not love. He thought you would understand, that you would endure it quietly. But tonight he had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed, and for the first time in his life, Jung was afraid of losing the one person who had always been there, despite his indifference. The next morning, you didn't join him for breakfast. You didn't even leave your room when he knocked. You ignored it. When he called your name, you stayed silent. Finally, he spoke through the door. Well, please, I know I don't deserve it, but talk to me. Silence. His voice broke. I regret it every second. I don't know why I did it, but I swear I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Just don't leave me inside. Sitting on the edge of the bed, you let the tears fall silently. Because deep down, a part of you wanted to believe him, wanted to believe he could change. But another part of you knew better. This was not about one slap, it was about years of being unloved, unwanted, unseen, and no apology could undo that. The papers were already within a week. You had no wasted time the morning. After the party, you had called your liar. There was no hesitation in your voice, no falter in your decision. You wanted out. The mansion that once felt suffocating now became unbearable. Every room echoed with memories of silence. Every corner reminded you of what your marriage had never been. Jungkook, on the other hand, spiraled. He came home earlier than usual. He hovered around your door. He canceled night out with his friend, desperate to talk, desperate to fix something already broken. But you remained distant, detached. When the paper finally arrived neatly stacked in a folder on the dining table, Jungkook froze. His heart pounded as his eyes scanned the bold letters at the top, divorce agreement. His hand trembled as he picked it up. Wine, what is this? You sat across from him, calm, collected. It's exactly what it looks like. His jaw clenched, his voice rising with panic. No, I won't sign this. You don't have a choice, he replied softly but firmly. This marriage is over, Jungkook. He stared scared against the floor as he stood, pacing like a caged animal. His chest rose and fell rapidly. His eyes dark with something you had not seen before. Desperation. Don't do this, he said, his voice breaking. Don't walk away from me. I'm not walking away, you said, standing to meet his gaze. You pushed me away a long time ago. This slap was just the final nail in the coffin. His thought bobbed. He looked at you like a man dawning, reaching for air. I regret it every second I see your face in my head. The way you looked at me that night, I can't get it out. I hate myself for it. Please, Van, give me one more chance. Your eyes burned, but you refused to cry. I gave you countless chances, Jungkook. You wasted them all. And now I'm done. Silence is between you, heavy and suffocating. Finally, you pushed the papers toward him. Sign it. He stared at them, his knuckles white. As he gripped the table, if I sign this, you will be gone just like that. You nodded exactly like that. His voice cracked, raw and vulnerable. And what about everything we have been through? What about us? You let out a bitter laugh. What us, Jungkook? There was never an us, just me, dying. And you pushing me away. I won't waste my life waiting for you to change. For the first time in his life, Jungkook broke. His shoulders slumped, his head dropping into his hand as a choked sob escaped his lips. I don't want to lose you, he whispered, his voice trembling. You close your eyes, forcing yourself to stay strong. You already did. And with that, he picked up the pen, placed it in his hand, and waited. His fingers shook as he stared at the dotted line, his vision blurred with unshed tears. Every part of him screamed to throw the papers away, to fight harder, to beg until you softened, but deep down you knew. He had crossed a line you could never forgive. With a trembling hand, Jungkook signed his name. The sound of the pen scratching against the paper was the sound of finality, the end of a marriage that had never truly begun. When you finally dipped the pen, he looked up at you with tear-stained eyes. Is this really what you want? You swallowed hard, your voice steady. Yes, this is freedom, and then you walked away. This time for good. The end.